her with a game of old maid. Little did we know that once upon a time in her rebellious youth she enjoyed a good game of cards. But we didn't stop there. We also took my great-grandmother to her first movie, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, which she loved. Oh, the rebellious influence of children in the 70s. In addition to Millicent's letters in 1903 and 1904, Herman's mother wrote occasionally to him. She was ill with chronic symptoms of age, but her strong faith gave her comfort. She wrote this to Herman in March of 1904. Our Sabbath was lovely, which I spent at home as usual. But the dear Lord willing, I hope I can go to his house again. Anyway, his grace is sufficient for me. There is a song in my soul today, a blessed sunshine that no outward circumstances can take away. The Lord is a sun and a shield to all that trust in him. May he always be your guide. Their families were not rich, but they were literate and spiritual. My great-grandmother Millicent did not attend college, but her sister graduated from Northeastern Ohio Normal School in 1908. Millicent, like her mother before her, was active in the Women's Christian Temperance Union of Mahoning County, Ohio. In 1874, the Temperance Crusade began in Ohio, and the first national convention of the Women's Christian Temperance Union was held in Cleveland. According to family lore, they sang in the prisons against the devil's liquor rum. We have no record of their involvement in women's suffrage, but the Temperance Union officially endorsed women's suffrage as a way of gaining more participation and influence for women. I don't think Millicent and her mother were of the Carrie Nation variety of temperance activists. To my knowledge, they confined their protest tactics to singing, not hatchets. Millicent was an activist, though, to the end. I remember listening to her interrogate my father at her 100th birthday party back in 1984 about sending AWACS, advanced surveillance planes, to Egypt. My father had been a no vote in Congress, and fortunately for him, my great-grandmother approved. She was tireless in her efforts to register people to vote, even working to register more than 100 fellow residents at her assisted living facility. As the descendant of abolitionists and temperance workers, I think she tried to register only Republicans. The women in my family were a force to be reckoned with because of their faith, energy, and intelligence, but also sheer longevity. Millicent's grandmother, Sarah Millicent Rose Howard, was born in 1836 and was still going strong at age 87 until she stepped out of a jitney and was struck by a car in 1923. My mother treasures a quilt knitted by Sarah, whom they called Ma Howard. My mother's mother, Carol Creed Wells, graduated from Ohio University in the early 1930s at a time when few women went to college, much less graduated. Kelley and I have a framed picture of her in the foyer of our home that never fails to draw the notice of guests. In the photo, she is sitting, knees bent, aiming a rifle at a distant target, a row of carbines in the background. Carol, or Graham as we knew her, was not quite the teetotaler her mother was. She loved parties, joined a sorority, and was a bit of a rule breaker. As kids, we loved the stories she told us of my grandfather climbing in the second-story window of her dormitory long after visiting hours for boys had ended. Graham was an avid coin collector and spent hours with me as a child, sorting coins and peering at mint marks. As time went on, her vision began to fail, and I became her eyes, spying the faintest of mint marks on weather-worn coins. I went with her to the eye surgeon as her cataracts were removed, then her corneas replaced, and finally when we received the sad news that macular degeneration had irreparably damaged her retinas. Those trips to the ophthalmologist with her were among the reasons I decided ultimately to become an eye surgeon. My father's mother, Margaret Dumont Paul, finished high school while her husband finished only 8 grades. My dad says that without her management and accounting skills, the family dairy business would never have thrived to become the main milk delivery system in Carnegie and Green Tree, Pennsylvania. Even after long days working at the dairy and caring for 5 sons, Margaret found time to help those less fortunate than she. She delivered Meals on Wheels to invalids and shut-ins well into her 80s. Even after she was crippled with her own arthritis and maladies, she would carry meals up long, winding stairs to houses perched in the hilly sections of South Pittsburgh.